Hey guys, how you doing? Good morning. How are we this morning? Okay. Okay, I want a quick chat in a while about the trade copy issues I had yesterday. I'm just keeping my eye on this at the moment. I did have a couple of little short trades here. I was just sort of, well, I ended up getting a few ticks here and a few ticks there just to try and, I was trying to work out what was going on here. I was expecting another good sort of push down, but well, that's another story. Anyway, who we got in? Let's find out who we got in this morning. Grandpa Roger. Good morning. Good morning, Grandpa Roger. I think you're a new face, aren't you? Where are you from? Price has first to break upward trend channel. If buyers stay strong, we can see fell secondary short, secondary long on the EMA. Okay, Canterbury King. Good morning. How you doing, Nicholas? Good afternoon. What? How you doing? What? Leon. I think you're a new face as well. Where are you from, bud? Where are you from? Another one from Florida. There's quite a few of you from Florida. I'm assuming it's warmer there than it is today. We've had some snow here in the UK this morning. It's pretty fresh outside, put it that way. Scrambler, good morning. Morning, Sam. So let's have a little look here. Okay, what I had some issues, as a lot of you know, yesterday I had some issues with the trade copier. And I had a few chat with a few people, put a couple of posts out and this, that and the other. And some of you probably already know, but what happened, morning Jamie, what happened is I took a short trade. My PA account, which is my lead account, triggered and my 3 evaluations didn't. Well, I was unaware of this. So as my trade sort of pushed down, so I brought my stop down. And what I didn't realise, when the trade eventually hit my stop, that it created 3 buy orders. Some of you who will use trade copier will probably may have heard this or come across it before. But yeah, it created 3 buy orders. And before I realised out of it, I'd lost about $100 on each, something like that. So I've chatted with a few people. I've chatted with Daryl. And I've chatted with a few others, and I think the best way to go about this is obviously to keep the positions tab. But if I take a trade here, so let's say let's open a trade, let's open a buy stop market, it's showing the state as accepted. So what I'm looking for is if the trade triggers, I'm looking for it to be filled 4 times. So the PA account, which is at the bottom, and the 3 of those. Now, if some of them aren't filled, I can delete each one. So let's say, for instance, just the PA is filled. The PA will show there as filled, and these will just sit there, in which case then I can just close each individual one down. So I think that's the way I'm going about it from now. I think the thing about the trade copier is if you want to make some decent money, you really need more accounts, and the only way to control those accounts is to use some form of a trade copier. So this is how I'll proceed from now. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone. This is how I'm going to proceed from now. So if anybody's got any thoughts on what you do or whatever, or as the day progresses, feel free to shout up. So I've got my 4 accounts down here. The bottom one is the PA account, which is the lead account, and there's 3 following accounts. So I've kept that on position. So hopefully this should usually trade copy issues on my fault. Well, the trouble is you are limited. It doesn't come with an instruction book, really, does it? It doesn't. You know, I've watched Daryl's videos, but it doesn't necessarily mention the fact that a sell stop order can, if it doesn't trigger the follow account, so they can then trigger as buy, and I suppose that's how you get out of a sell option. You buy, don't you? So that seems to be the problem. So where are we? Okay. Do I just call you Sing? I think, don't I? I think we've had this conversation before, haven't we? Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, I think. Is that right? Or Harmy? Or I can't remember. You'll have to correct me there. Leading loser, good morning. Thomas Turner. Usually, yeah, we've mentioned that. Hey, Keith, how you doing, buddy? Kim, hi, Kim. Nicholas, you can use Replicanto ads. The trouble is, because I don't know a great deal about either one, I've paid this $150 for this. Now, I don't know whether the other one's better. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just learn by my mistakes. I've not spoke to people about Recanto, whether it's better or, do you know what I mean? So what I want to try and do is exhaust this first, or just get to know a little bit about both of them first before I sort of make a decision and buy something else. So I'm just going to have to sort of wait and see, really, and see what happens. So, hey, Lance, I hope you got the copier issues figured out. Let's hope so, Jacko. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I appreciate you going through the growing pains. What was that? Yeah, that's the thing about whenever you do something new, and the trade copier is new for me. I've only ever stuck to one account. The way I see it is I'm only going to do one account until I'm making some money. When I make some money, and I did last month, I withdrew $2,000. Then I'll consider, coughing up some more and bringing a few other accounts along for the ride, shall we say. I've noticed quirks initially. Just constantly watch the business account. Yeah, I think once you've been in a bunch of trades and you've had a few teething problems, I think things should get a bit easy. But yesterday was just stressing me out, and I had enough yesterday. Nothing worse than paying your money and there's things that they don't inform you. And to be honest with you, I think I did put this here earlier, whether it was valid or not, I don't know. See what happens. But Daryl doesn't cover some of the problems you have on the videos, or not that I can see. So if you've seen anything different, let me know. Today's quote: "We're all in the business of making mistakes. Winners make small mistakes, losers make big mistakes." Correct. It is. It's just moving forward, isn't it? It's like anything new. There's going to be teething problems, so it is what it is. So moving forward, I've got this out here anyway. So this should show the trades that are there. This should show the trades that are filled. So if I've got some there that isn't filled, then I just need to close those down so they don't accidentally then create a buy order on the way down, or vice versa. Morning, Bill. How you doing? New extreme has been made from this downtrend in Asia. I just drew this because things were looking very bearish today, and I got the daily here. As we know, we've been coming down since the beginning of the year. We had a good strong push down yesterday, finished on its low, and I was expecting more of the same today. It may retrace a bit, but I watched Max as well, so he said we could either maybe do a bit of sideways or continue down sharply. So I just drew this purely and simply because it fitted that side, and often if it fits one side, it'll fit the other, and it sort of bounced exactly where I expected it to. So we've pushed up a bit. So we shall see. We shall see. So market is open. So whether this is a breakout or not, it's hard to say yet. It's not really. It's as good as anything at the moment. But we're going to have to see. Just watch. Target 3929. That's more or less where we are now, are we? Measured move. So you're about from there to there, yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to put that there, whether we do or not. If we hit that, then hopefully if we can come down, push through the EMA, and give us maybe a failure or something like that back, and then this. I don't know. Hard to say at the moment, isn't it? But it has been pretty bearish, I've got to say. Yesterday dropped quite a bit. So let's see how today goes. We had some teething problems yesterday. I hopefully figured things out. Now, news-wise, we had a little bit of news. Only medium news. We had some earlier. Didn't really do a great deal. I think it was around about here. It could have caused a bit of a spike, I don't know, but nothing major happened, I don't think. and we've got some. It's only a medium impact news later that will probably be done by then anyway, so we shall see. Okay, so sitting, waiting patiently, waiting for a good trade. Did you end yesterday, Green? Yeah, I did. I stayed on for a bit because I was a bit frustrated. So I stayed on for a bit and I took another couple of trades and I ended up about 270 up, something like that. After that problem with air, I just thought I'm going to sit around. And fortunately, the market just kept on going, didn't it? So it didn't take me long to get in somewhere. And I just literally grabbed a few points and that was it. I thought I want to go home in the green. And I'd had enough then, to be fair. So as soon as I hit the green, I was happy with that, and I just packed in then. So that was yesterday. So the trouble is with yesterday, when you have such a strong push down like that, it doesn't always give you really good entries. You know, you tend to think it's great to trade a trend going down like that, but the trouble is if you don't see any entries, it's risky trading, isn't it? But Mac usually does say at the end of the day, almost every time it came back to the EMA and had a bearish bar, it went. You could have took it lower, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? So what are we doing now? Are we continuing up, or are we going to come back down? Hard to say. Let's just get rid of that for now. So we've had a push up and we had a break. 2 pushes up to a new high. See if we do come back down. And we may come back down. There is a bit of resistance around here, I think. So yeah, so it's got a little bit of sitting and waiting, I think. Maybe targeting yesterday's close. Yeah. We did try and get there a few times, didn't we? And then just dropped out. So whether we'll get up there or not, it's hard to say, isn't it? I did exactly the same as that, bud. Exactly the same as that. What I did the first time I used it, I opened it, set it all up, and then shut that down and saved it. And then when I opened it the following day, I went back into new, opened it again. Didn't realise there was 2 open. So I obviously doubled everything up, didn't I? So that was my first hiccup. That was on another account anyway. So I think it's like anything. When you come across these problems, hopefully if you get past them and you sort them out, you learn. I don't think it's infallible by any means. But the little issues with it, I think as long as you know what could happen and you keep on top of it, I think you'll pretty much get a lot more pain-free trading, I think. Brant, yes, that's a short comment. Are you going to go with Replicanto? Just curious, as I'm learning the thing. To be honest with you, I've heard from a few people that the Apex Trade Copier is just a rebranded version of that. So I don't know whether it's any better. Now, if I think about it, what I'm inclined to think that it doesn't matter what trade copy you've got. If I come in with an order quickly, just as it hits that, it kicks me out of my normal trades. So it's feasible to say, I'm just wondering if that trigger's below there. And that's a failure, isn't it? I'm just going to pop an order in here. Under this, I don't think it will. But that is a second entry long. That's a failure. If this trigger's below here, let's get a bit closer. I want to keep it here because that's a second entry long, which is triggered. Okay, that's fine. I'll get rid of that. It's all right. We've got a failure. Second entry long. See, I'd have gone short there if that would have triggered and come down and stopped that out. But it didn't. I forgot where I was now. What was I saying? Oh, anyway, regardless. What was I saying? I don't know. I'm losing my marbles at the moment. I went long there, second entry long, yeah. I think the only thing is because we've had this strong push down, I thought we may correct it a little bit and come down again. So I was waiting under there. And to be honest with you, I dare say there's going to be some longs in there for sure. So I thought if it triggers, comes down and hits their stops, that might give it another second leg down. That may do then something like this. In which case my order would have been down there. And then if we had 2 legs down, we may continue back down, but it's hard to say at the minute. Okay, that looks as good as any, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a nice second entry long actually there. And a higher low there. Trouble is, when we've had a strong push down, I seem to get thinking bearish at the moment. Larger uptrend that broke needs a new high, yeah. That seems to fit there quite well, actually. Let's get rid of that. Trouble is, when we have such a bearish move again after yesterday, if you look at that, it almost just continued down, didn't it? And it gets in your head sometimes that we're definitely going to continue lower. So when we have a break, I'm automatically looking to come lower, but I need to stop doing that. Which is why I looked at this one. Now, to be honest with you, that's a second entry long. There's going to be a lot of orders in there. So if it did stop below there, quite likely come down then. See, so that's why I let's get rid of this for a time. Extreme for upward trend again. So you probably put that there, didn't you? Like that. Let's leave that there for now. You could say that's a break, couldn't you? Started here, touched nice here. Yeah, you'd say that's a break. 2 pushes up to a new extreme. So that's played out. So let's see what happens now, whether it comes back and continues higher. A possible downtrend illustrable straight. Yeah, it's just hard to say at the moment, isn't it? It's hard to say. One of my accounts didn't fill. Quick mover. So, you know, I have spoke to. I put a couple of messages on some of the Apex and sort of Facebook groups, and I had some people saying it's 99% problem free. Down to them, you know, from what their opinion is of it, they rarely get problems, but perhaps it's just, perhaps I'm just a bit unlucky. Initially, if you get the trouble is if you get a bad experience earlier on before you have a chance to get use it tends to sort of not make you feel so confident, doesn't it? I mean, I got to say, when I did drop that short in yesterday, market was flipping quick. And when I dropped it, it hit. And it often does that, doesn't it? When you put an order in, it'll hit it and kick it out. And as it kicked it out, it triggered the PA account and kicked out the other 3 followers. Now, the PA account, obviously being the lead account, I think it's probably the more likely one to trigger. But I was unaware of this. But yeah, we could, Jacko. It's a bit early, isn't it? I just put that there simply because we came down here, and when we were stalling here, I just put my trend this side and dragged it up to there, and that seemed to stop right there, which is uncanny. We're scared to take that second entry long as well. Yeah, it's hard. The trouble is, when you have this sort of strong move initially, and we work up to this side, and we come back down and we break out, I'm naturally thinking bearish, I am. So we had a break. We had sort of 2 pushes up, and then we strongly came down, didn't we? So I wouldn't have took a short there until it triggered below there, because I knew there was likely to be quite a few longs in there. And then if it did come down and triggered below here, then I think we're good to go down another second leg then. But yeah, see, that's looking better, I think, now. Fits really nice, actually. There and there. The back section fits okay. See what happens. I am not using trade copy, just using ATM. I saw this shish, went hit my target. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, the thing is about these trade copies, you've sort of got to use them, really, haven't you? Because on one account, it's going to take you a long time to build that up and make some decent money. Now, when I did my evaluation and passed my evaluation and then did... Okay, let's put that back. When I did my evaluation, passed my evaluation and built that PA account up, I took a $2,000 payment out of it. Now, if I'd have had 10 accounts, I could have potentially withdrew $20,000. Now, that is some serious money. So that's kind of why I like having some, starting to bring a few of these up 2 legs down. Okay, this does look like it's coming back down again, isn't it? I don't even think it's going to give us a failure, is it? There is a bit of resistance here. Now, this to me looks like the break. The break with a bearish bar, a higher low, 2 pushes up to a new high. Big bearish bar, straight down, bounced off the EMA, straight through the EMA. I'd say this may be where it may come down again. So perhaps that was just an attempt to push up. Failed second entry short. Yeah, we've got nothing. Yeah, we just had this one. I mean, you could have gone here, but at the moment things are moving up, aren't they? So I think that's risky. And I'd have preferred to wait for the failure. Wouldn't be the first time I got trapped the wrong side of the market. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit here. It's strongly coming down. See, after this big move down, I thought it is looking like it is looking like another downtrend day. Let's just let's put that there for now. Might be more here, but let's see what happens. But it does look like get a break, 2 pushes up, 2 high, strongly down. Trouble is when you have these that strong down and we have a break, it barely gets towards the EMA before it comes lower. That's what I was thinking. He entered with a stop order and it was moving. Yeah. That's not a convincing low to me. I'd say we're likely going to come down lower. Trouble is, I really don't want to take that because it's so far away from the EMA. Trouble is, on these strong downtrend days, look, half the time it doesn't get to the EMA. So even if this is here, I mean, it kind of fits quite nice, doesn't it? So this could potentially be a break. I don't think it is. I'm still thinking bearish at the moment, I am. Just after the open strong push down. Does fit quite nice, doesn't it? But it also fitted there quite nice. In fact, that's probably the... could have been a bit of an overshoot, that. Kind of fits nice there, doesn't it? Okay, let's take it as we've had this break. Because often when we have a break, we have a sort of second entry long, followed by a lower high, and that's pushed up a couple of legs and strongly reversed. I had some affiliate messages last night. So somebody, I think a couple of you guys took some evaluations and used my code up there. So it's much appreciated. Doesn't cost you anything extra, which is the only reason I have it up there. But yeah, somebody took some accounts. So I appreciate that. Oh, was it you, Thomas, was it? 8 evaluations. Wow. How the other half live, we know where the money is. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. Very much appreciated. I'll get to 8 accounts one day. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. It's very kind of you. Okay, what are we doing here? Back to the MA. There is some resistance around here, isn't there? So what do we do? I mean, technically that's played out, isn't it? Things are just looking bearish for me. Does your heart beat fast after you put a trade on? Not as fast as it used to. Put it that way. I used to put a trade on, and my knees used to shake. I've been through everything. I've had a neck that stiff that it literally drains me. Yeah, I think it's fair to say my heart rate does climb. I think most people do, especially when there's money involved. Whether seasoned traders do or not, I don't know, but yeah, it does a little bit. I think that's pretty normal, I would say. So if that is happening, I don't think you're the only one. Okay, so they say fade to break out. That faded back in. If we can get a push up here, I'm thinking bearish at the moment, then I will fade it back. That potentially be a hidden second entry short, but I want it to go up a little bit. Maybe touch here and then come down bearish. One account per month. Yeah, I think that's a nice way to do it, I think. Yeah, because mine does. Yeah, it's pretty normal, mate. It's pretty normal. I wouldn't worry about it. You thought you might have some sort of heart condition. I've got to say, if you have got a heart condition, I don't think trading is for you, to be honest with you, because it can be stressful at times. There's no two ways about that. What's 39.20? We're there now, I think. Yeah, you do. Your heart rate does climb. I think it happens to everybody to a degree. your hair stands on end a little bit. You know, you get that. You have all sorts of feelings in the early. You went short, did you? Yeah, there's nothing that looks too good on mine, and although I think we are going short, although I think we're doing possibly something like this. Personally, that's what I think at the moment. Often when we get a big, strong push down, we get some sideways. As soon as it sits under there nice, then it continues lower. So I'm going to leave that there just for a minute, see if it does take. You might be right there, Jacko. Good call, mate. Good call. Yours may look a bit better than mine there, and it is a hidden second entry short. And I was expecting more down. So on the upside, I'm definitely thinking bearish. So there's our break. 2 pushes up. 1, 2, 3 pushes up to a new high, then strongly pushes back below the EMA. Little bits, you can't come down that speed for long, so you've got to correct it a little bit. And we have right to the EMA. As soon as it gets relatively comfortable there and it attracts sellers, down it comes again. But having said that, it could also be a little bit like that. It does look like it's coming down. I am thinking down. Maybe a few longs there. So I think if it gets below here, spike and channel fits nicely. So you're thinking somewhere around about there, then, are you? It's along the back end. Took 3, Jacko. Well, if they all won, mate, I won't worry about it. Okay, let's see what happens here then. Oh. Right, let's see if we can get a decent short here. That's a hidden second entry short. Fade the breakout, top of the range. Let's see how this finishes. Ooh, is it going to come short? I don't think it is it? You could call that a break. What about the break of the channel, I think? Have a look at this again. Let me just put that back where it is. Where it was, rather. It's a bit early, yeah, isn't it? Okay, let's see if we can get a bit of a push here. It's just hard to say at the moment. Let me just remove that a minute. Push down a little bit of sideways. I am expecting another push down. Let's put it back. Okay, second entry short. See if this comes bearish. I don't think it's going to. Okay, it's bouncing off the. Let me have a look. Nothing. Wow. Don't fancy fading that. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's have a little look what's going on here. Not so sure. Okay, so we had a push, we had a break. Push up to new high, a little bit sideways, break out. I wasn't expecting that. A bit too wide, that, isn't it? Okay, let's have to keep an eye on this. Well, perhaps fading it did work. As they say, you fade the breakout, don't you? Sort of fade the breakout of the range, but it wasn't just a little breakout, it was quite a strong push, so it's a bit. I don't know, it made me a little bit uneasy about doing that. It's volatile, mate. Yeah, it is a bit. One leg down. Perhaps this is another leg down. Yeah, I wasn't expecting after that strong push out. You tend to think maybe we're going to start pushing up, don't we? Because normally when you fade it, it comes out a little bit, doesn't it? Not strongly like that. Yeah, you're not wrong, Jacket. You're not wrong, lad. Looks pretty straightforward so far, doesn't it? It's just this little bit. Push down sideways breakout. Maybe this is a second leg. Trouble is, it's risky going short there, isn't it? As tempting as it is, it is a bit choppy. It's risky doing anything at the moment. I'm just going to sit here and count my millions. Straight back out, look. Oh. I don't even think I can see a trend there anywhere. Oh, weird. Just as I put that, I think I've just controlled the market there by putting that there. Look, maybe not. I think I've just had a psychological connection with other traders. I put that there, see? As soon as I did it, it stopped. Or is that wishful thinking? Strong push down, sort of a push up, bit of a correction, a little bit of sideways, up once, up twice. Maybe it'll come down, maybe there'll another leg. Who can say? Maybe we'll have something like that. Okay, see what happens here. Let's move that over because I think even if you wanted to go short, there's no setup, is there? Yeah, on the 10,000 tick chart, it's looking very congested all of a sudden. Like to think it's going to come down, but I wouldn't bet on it. Trouble is, yeah, it's touched here, touched here, touched here, looking like it might touch here, but as Brant says, it is sort of doing that, isn't it? And the trouble is, it'll go one either way. I'd like to say I think it'll go down because I'm thinking bearish at the moment, just with the way, but it's just hard to say, isn't it? There's probably more green in those last few pushes, but maybe we'll come up to the midline. And it's hard to say at the moment. It is choppy. It has been frustrating to trade, isn't it, lately? I mean, yesterday wasn't too bad, although we had a lovely, strong downtrend, but not a massive amount of entries. Because if you could get a decent entry yesterday and just follow it down, you could have made yourself a ton of points. But we've just had these really choppy days lately, haven't we? There is some support on this midline, but not enough to get me into a trade. We've had a short-term trend channel, we've had a break in a new high. It does seem to be pulling away from it, but it's just risky with this chop. Well, it's certainly not looking bearish now, is it? I thought after that and after the last couple of days, it might not attract much in the way of buyers. I've given up with triple tests. I have. It's that volatile at the moment. It's that choppy. Once it's just choppy. It's not looking bearish at the moment. There's a lot more green in there. Gee, money, where'd you go here somewhere, did you? Did you go here? So we've had a break, new high, trying to go at once. Let's push it through here. Just looking bearish, and if I can bring myself to go short at the minute. Possible second entry long, I don't know. There's a little bit of resistance around that center line, so I don't really want to go long either. Market looks like it's going up. EMA's putting up. I don't really want to go short. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, mate? How you doing, lad? Trading today, bud, are you? Trouble is, I don't think I could bring myself to take this because it's sort of doing some sideways. A lot of the time, see, you'll watch it and it'll come down. As soon as you get in, it rockets off in the other direction. Blew my P account. Oh, bad luck, mate. Can't believe it. I was up to... Oh, no. Oh, no. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? I've done it myself many times. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. My advice, mate, if you want some advice from me, I would start streaming. Even if you get half a dozen people watching you and chat with you, you're less likely to... I haven't once jumped in and hit the sell or buy stop and just gone crazy, which is something I used to do. Yeah, I'm guessing there's some... let's have a look at that. There's probably some longs in there that got triggered and then stopped out because EMA is going up. And it looked to me like it was going up. And I think that's what's happened. Probably even some longs in here, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Jimmy. It is frustrating. It's a horrible feeling, I got to say. I hate it. I do. You feel sick, don't you? Sick to your stomach and just frustrated and angry. I'd say, mate, stream, I would. Do whatever it takes. That's the thing that helped me, streaming. Because when I got people watching, I'm less likely to do something stupid, and it just holds you back a little bit. Yeah, I've blown a ton of PA accounts. Yeah, I think I've blown about eight PA accounts. No, tell a lie. Probably about 2 from UProfit or whatever. Probably about 10 or 11 PA accounts, and probably the best part of about 90 evaluations. It stops. The threshold stops at 50,100. So as soon as you get to 52,600, that's where you start to extend that buffer then. And theoretically, if you get above 2,600, as long as you've done 10 days, you could stop trading and withdraw $2,000. And that may be an option for some people who have maybe, had a good, struggled in the past, but had a good run to get there. And then maybe an option to get some money back. Well, it's helped me, Nicholas. It's really helped me. You haven't seen me hitting any of these buttons. I was terrible. Markets coming down, I'll be clicking sell. Sometimes on an evaluation, I'll be clicking sell 5 times, 10 contracts. And I'll be scrappily trying to get a few ticks. And then if it moved up, I'll be going buy. And I'd do that. If I lost it completely, I'd do that until I either blew my account or made a few thousand. I couldn't control myself, and I haven't done that. I've taken some questionable trades, but that's just down to inexperience and still learning, which I'm still doing. But I haven't what I would call revenge traded. So streaming's definitely helped me. So close to it. Yeah, it is frustrating, mate. You'll get there. If you've got there nearly once, do it again. I think the highest I got in a PA account, I think, was about $1,200. But as soon as I took a bad trade, and usually it was a trade that something in the back of my mind told me I should leave it alone. It was one of those, and it's usually one of those is the trigger. So if I, sometimes we'll see a trade and it'll just jump out at you and go, "Oh, you got to take that one. That's a great one." Those were okay. It was when I took a trade out of maybe lack of patience that I took a trade that I thought, it's a bit risky, but I wanted to take it. Those are the ones that usually triggered my revenge trading. But it is a horrible feeling. I felt it a lot of times. Yeah, because of streaming. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing worked up until when I started to stream, and within a month, I passed an evaluation and got up to I think about $5,000 or $6,000. Withdrew $2,000. I had my account up to just over $5,000, and then I had a really bad day. I lost about $2,300. It messed with my head. The following day, trying to get it back, lost another $1,700. I got down to about $1,000, I think, and I'm slowly building it back up now. But I haven't gone back to those old habits of just randomly jumping in. My only vice at the moment is staying out of the market when it's doing this. When we're in trends, I seem to do okay. If we hadn't had this and we'd had this trend, then second entry long, I'd have taken that. And maybe the lower high as well. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do, pushed up new extreme. But it's when it's choppy like this that sometimes I get a bit bored and take something that's, we got one leg up, 2 legs up, take something which is a bit questionable. But it's you're never going to start making money, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. You're going to still have hiccups. But the way I see it, the longer I have my accounts, the more I trade, the more experience I'm getting, the better I'm getting at it. And that's how it gets. You struggle until you get to the stage where it starts to work. And you start to make money, but you still have your off days. I've had days where I've made I had $1,000 day, a $1,300 day. So I've made some good money. But then you'll have a bad day and that'll mess with your head a little bit. But what I find is every time something goes wrong, the next time it happens, I don't feel as bad. So losing a trade doesn't affect me nowhere near the way it used to. My hair used to stand on end. I'd feel, I could feel my heart rate jumping out my chest. I'd feel flushed in the face. I'd feel a bit lightheaded and dizzy. I've been through all that, but now it's not as bad. I don't like losing a trade, and no one does. But I'm closer to telling myself it happens, and there's not a lot I can do about it. When I watch people like who's the guy from Top Pick Trading, Taylor, he quite often posts a trade that he took and it failed. So traders a lot more experienced than me still mess up. They still take trades that just don't work sometimes, or something that was a little bit risky. So I think once you can get over that hurdle of not revenge trading when you lose a trade, I think you're halfway there, and you'll get to the next level. But it is a journey. It's a real journey of ups and downs. But I think the longer you do it for, the more you try, the closer you get to starting to. Now I'm getting to the stage now where I've had this account open for nearly 5 weeks. And I think 6 days was my maximum before. So it is working, although I am still having problems, little hiccups, but I'm getting closer and closer and closer. You were up 10k on a PA account above the withdrawal threshold. Was when you had to trade 25 days. I had too many days before withdrawal and I blew it up. Oh, it's heartbreaking, mate. That is. I feel your pain, mate. I do. It's $10,000 is plenty of money to take $2,000 out and have plenty in there to trade without any great stress. You know what I mean? Yes, it's nice when it starts to work. I actually feel like now I'm getting closer to being a full-time trader. I'm getting closer to making a living, and I'm quite happy to, this $2,000 a month. As I get more and more accounts on, that'll grow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to, solid days ahead. I'd say multiply slowly. Yeah. So if I'd have had the one account, if I'd have had 10 accounts and I'd have withdrawn $2,000 from each account, that's $20,000. That is some serious money. You're talking in the realms of serious money then. I mean, even if you work 10 months of the year, withdrawing £2,000 from each, it's 200 grand a year. I mean, that's you're in the top 2% of the, of the earners in the country then. I was hoping we may get a failure here. Seems to be a bit of a range, a bit of a breakout here. A seam, I think so, yeah. I know what happened. I dropped my sell order in, and as I dropped it in, the market hit it exact point. And sometimes when you drop a trade and it pops up and you get knocked out of it and you've got to redo it. When that happened, the PA account, which was the lead account, triggered, but the other three didn't. And when I brought my stop down, when it hit my stop, the stop acts as a buy order for something that, for accounts that aren't triggered. And that's what happened. They bought. So as it came down a little bit and I thinking I was going to get more profit, what I actually did was the opposite. So I noticed something wasn't right and closed all the accounts. But it's a lesson. This may be a failure. What are we thinking here? 1 leg down, 2 legs down. It is coming up and down, isn't it? Let's see what happens here. I got one strong advertise. See what happens here. Okay, I think it is still a failure. It probably looks a little bit bearish on some charts, so I think that's okay. It is a failure if it triggers below. And there's about 4 points to the bottom. Let's see what happens. It is the middle of the range. Yeah, it is the middle of the range, isn't it? That's the trouble. Okay, we're in anyway, so let's see what happens. See if we can get something out of it. I thought there may be some longs trapped there as well. Everything's working anyway, so that's one. Going to give that one extra tick. Maybe some more longs in there. If we can get below here, my confidence level will come back. It's got to drop below here though, because I'd say there's probably going to be some longs in there. Come on, tick a bit below. There we go. Okay, my confidence level's back up a little bit now. It is a failure. And then when we had this big bearish bar, see what happens. If it does come down here, I might get out of this. It seems to go a little bit. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a bearish bar there if that triggers. Right, hold on a minute. What's in, what's out? Okay, what do I do again? Positions, right click, flatten everything. I'm down at the moment, aren't I? Get down. Okay, bollocks. Didn't work again. See, did it? What is going on? Oh, dear me. Oh, look at that. It's done what I expected it to do. What a bugger. Oh, that's frustrating. I mean, it is a failure. That one as well got me a bit more keen. That would have been frustrating. Where did I go in here? Yeah, I could have got a few points out of that. That's annoying. Using the same 3 points, yeah. Just press close. The trouble is, does close them all, does it? So what exactly happened there? They didn't, I don't quite know. We'll have to watch that back again. They didn't all get kicked out though, did they? Anybody know what went on there? Well, considering this thing works most of the time, the last couple of times I've used it, it's just playing up. At least I'm up to something, I suppose, anyway. That's the saving grace. Take a free trial of Replicanto and compare. Yeah, I might have to. Yeah, see, that's twice I've used it now. Well, twice I've used it and twice it hasn't closed everything. Once it hit my stop, they carried on. It didn't trigger them. God, that's not a good record, is it? Used it twice, failed twice. See, they all triggered, didn't they? They all triggered. I know that. That one cancel. They all triggered. But they didn't come out, did they? With all of them, they didn't. This may be the leg that makes the run for the no-no, yeah. Oh, I'm losing faith in it. Rapido. You had the same issue with the copier. It is annoying when they charge you $150 and they don't give you any type of instruction book. I mean, Daryl did say to me, watch the videos, but the video doesn't say that sometimes the stop order can turn into a buy order if it didn't trigger. And that wasn't mentioned. If it was, then I would have been aware of it. And it's okay saying we'll keep an eye on this. If there's anything left over, then just right click and cancel. But the trouble is, I have my take profit or my stop loss there for a reason, because that's where I want to take my profit. I don't want it to trigger one of them and not three of them and end up retracing it a little bit and me cancelling it and lose money. It's sort of completely counterproductive. Are there any issues with not closing all of them? But I do see people complain about that. Yeah, I do as well. It just makes me wonder, why doesn't Daryl mention that? You know, for me, it's a flaw somewhere. Now, whether it's the software or whether it's just the system, obviously because we're working with live markets, aren't we? But Daryl doesn't seem to mention that, and that annoys me. If you sell something and it has problems, you need to be aware of them. And he doesn't mention that. That's the bit that annoys me, and that makes me suspicious. You must not place an order directly on top within one tick of the price. Yeah, but the whole idea of this is to put our order one tick below the signal bar. Set up 3 sim accounts, make the leader one of the other secondaries, open up 3 charts, show no different sims. Yeah. Yeah, see. Yeah. Trouble is, the whole idea of this strategy is to put your order one tick above or below the signal bar. That's how it works. So if you can't do that because it's problems, it doesn't make sense in using it. It's a pain in the arse. Tell you what, I don't know how these people manage to run 20 accounts. It's hard enough watching 3. You imagine having a list of 20 accounts. How are you going to know how many of them are triggered and how many of them? So I just don't get it. I don't know where I'm better off using a limit order. Don't drop it right on the bottom of the current price. I see what you mean. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'm better off just hitting close. That'd be a better option. That cancels the trade, doesn't it? And if it cancels that trade, it should cancel all of them. That might be a better option. Stop limit. It was a short order, wasn't it? So market. That's what I use. Stop market. Stop market order. I was told a market order. And then when that triggers, then I bring my stop down to secure profit. Yeah, see, Daryl says don't use limit orders. Limit orders have the problems. So if I use a stop limit order, I was just told limit orders. You've got to. A lot more people said you've got to use a market order, not a limit order. So I don't know. I'm pissed off for this bit of software. I am. It's a ball ache. It's a headache, and it's kind of a headache that I've got to have really if I want to make any decent money. Yeah, it is just a headache, isn't it? I think this is just some teething issues I've got to get through. Trouble is, a lot of people said they have no problems with it. And even during the video when Daryl was playing around with it, it kept leaving trades there. So I don't get it. Market should guarantee you're out. Yeah, that's what I use. I always use a market. The only time I use a limit order is if I come in from the top and I want it to retrace and get in. So if I was coming in on, say, a big bar like that one, like this one, and I didn't want to take it here, I'd put a limit order there and wait for the market to retrace. Stop limit with no problems. Stop limit. Sell stop limit. Okay, let's give that a go. Market doesn't seem to work, does it? Can't get any worse. Use a limit and drop. So you'll drag it over there, Jacko, will you? Put it right at the end, and as soon as it triggers below, let it go. I used to trade a bit like that. I see a lot of traders doing that. A lot of traders. See, when Mac teaches you, he tells you to get your order, doesn't he? To ring your order. And I've watched sort of Daniel having some of his videos that he sent to Mac, and he has his order ready, and if that's the signal bar, the second it finishes, he drops it and then waits for it to trigger. Just wondering though, a lot of people will set, I don't know, 2 points or whatever, and then it'll hit their target. Sometimes it'll hit my target, but what I like to do is trail it down by eye, depending on where I think it's going to go. So whether it doesn't like hitting the stop, whether it prefer to take profit, I don't know. You only use limit orders. I've learned from Wilson. Been doing it for 6 months now. Okay, I did have a chat with Wilson yesterday. Limit orders. Well, it can't be any worse, can it? At least I'm starting to understand what's going on and I can react. What I need is, you know when you get escalators in shopping centres, and at the bottom of the escalator emergency, you get that great big fat red button to just hit. I could do with something like that, I could. Okay, that's quite a nice downtrend there. I'm guessing, is it a second leg? coming to retest these lows, I think, aren't we, by the looks of things? Maybe. Or would you fade that as a range? Looks like someone is. So I am expecting it to come lower. That's a nice trend, that is. If we can break here and give me a setup, then I'll go short there, because I'm thinking we're going to at least make a measured leg, possibly retest these lows, or maybe this might even be sort of a, you know, maybe a bigger, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Certainly looks okay, that. Let's remove it for now. Let's see if we can get a could be a breakout pullback, but we have got a trend here, haven't we? So, I mean, there's no setup yet. It's just one push up anyway, so there's no setup. Has anybody else had any messages from me asking for any Telegram details? Just in case you do, a couple of people have mentioned to me that they've had messages that it's not from me, someone pretending to me. I don't know why. But just in case any of you do, just be aware, I won't ever ask you for anything unless it's cash. I'll ask you for cash, not your credit card details. So, but no, it's not me if anybody does. Okay, so we've had a couple of potential pushes up. If we can get above here and come down bearish, then I like to go short there. So see what happens. Yeah, if anybody does message you, I'll just do the wrong thing there. Okay. In fact, you can do a stop limit, can't you? Which is the same thing, isn't it? See what happens here. Ooh, tempting. Very tempting. Tempting. No, I'll leave that one, just in case it is breaking out the range and pushing back in. Risky. Only naughty messages. That's all right, mate. If you get any naughty messages, send me the link. See, I can't remember what takes precedence over here, the range or the trend. What takes precedence? So that is a second entry short, although it's not a fantastic bar, is it? But it does look like it's pushing down. But it could push up and bounce off this as support and move in. It's hard to say. Yeah, anybody know what takes precedence when we're in a range? Is it the trend? Are we still expecting a break and a new low, new extreme? It's the range, so we're not necessarily getting a new extreme then. No. I can't think, it's been a while. So that is a possible failure, isn't it? Would you take that? It's a bit congested, isn't it? Short-term trend takes precedent. Yeah, but this is a clear trend to me, and we've had a break. Are we expecting a new low? The reason I'm asking is because we're in a range, in my opinion, at the moment, and we've broken out the range. So are we still expecting a new extreme? Or does the range take precedent in meaning that we may not get a new extreme, or we're less likely to get a new extreme? So I was just wondering, is it the range or is it the trend? It's a bit congested there to go long. There is a failure. But I'm guessing there's going to be some shorts in there. And if that pushes up and breaks above there, we may come back up a little bit. I don't like, no, it's too congested to get anyway, but I'd say there's pretty much going to be some shorts there, and it is looking like it's going to make a new low anyway, but it's a bit risky, that is. Let's save our bullets for later. I like your thinking. Does look like it's making a new extreme, doesn't it? Maybe we're getting a... See, we have had this break in a new high, and it has sort of slowly working its way down. Or is it? It isn't really, is it? Because every time it's come up here, it's got higher and higher. Maybe a lower high. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get up here, is it? Too risky, that. There's not much room to the lows. I know it's just a bit far away, although it looks like it might go lower. Making lower lows. Yeah, we're certainly getting that impression it's moving down, isn't it? Just the overall sort of, if you look at that, yeah. Now that to me looks like it's slowly moving down, doesn't it? We had this initial push down, and then a pullback or a correction, whatever you call it, and then we've a little bit sideways, but on the yeah, look at that. See, that's why I was asking about that. Is it more likely to still make an extreme, or is it less likely because it's in a range at the moment? That's why I was asking about what has precedent. I personally think heading lower. Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, after the last couple of days, if I look at the daily here at the moment, we had that strong push up. It started to teeter out there, didn't it? Looked bearish, and all of a sudden, wham, it came down yesterday. It went up a tiny bit, and it does look like we're getting that second leg, doesn't it? So I'm certainly got bearish in my plans at the moment. But obviously, you've got to wait for a decent setup. You can't just think it looks bearish, let's go down. But I think shorts are what I'm looking for. There was a lower high there, but it wasn't a very good signal bar. Yeah, okay, there's our new extreme. See if it bounces here. I mean, that is looking more like a trend channel, isn't it? Playing the flat range until it's clear as dummy. Well, yeah, shallow trends are spooky. Yeah, they are. I mean, that was clearly a nice trend, wasn't it? It clearly fits in there really nicely. And we had a break, and whenever we have a break, we generally make a new extreme, and that was literally a tick or so off being bearish. And we had one push up. It was a second entry short. I mean, you didn't have this congestion, then it was that, so that wasn't that bad. But if that had been a little bit below here, then I may have taken it. And obviously, it was meant to be. There was going to be more shorts there than longs, hence the price then took a couple of strong pushes down. Let's get this to fit nice at the tops. And it fits nice at the bottoms. It's bounced off there as well. So I'd say that is as good a channel as any. It's certainly moving up from the right area, isn't it? It's still a bit early yet, but push down is medium and long-term trends. In ranges tend to be unreliable. Yes, I don't know. There's probably some of us got it like that, and half of us haven't. So it's just all this is really telling me is that we seem to be moving down. It's not a massive steep thing, but we are making lower lows, aren't we? And at the moment, it is respecting this bottom line. Okay, so if we drag it up to the very tops, it's touching perfectly on the top as well. Now, it is still early, but if something's touching and bouncing off that same point in time, lower and lower and lower, the EMA's facing down. The EMA's facing down. I'd say we're slowly moving down. But yeah, it is early. We're obviously moving at less steep than here, but it is still choppy and risky to trade. Second entry short. Yeah, it's just not a very good setup, really, is it? It needs to push up here. Would I go long there? If it pushed up here and finished bearish, then yeah, I would, because the EMA's facing down. Yeah, it is only 2 touches at the top, I agree. But 1, 2, 3, 4 touches at the bottom. And if you look, obviously, every time it comes down, it's coming low. It's lower, isn't it? Lower lows. So it may get up here. It might not. But to me, it's slowly moving down. We had, the EMA was facing down, then it went up a little bit, then it's cut 2 legs down. So the EMA is facing down. Every time the bottoms are getting lower, which is telling me at the moment we seem to have a bearish bias. And I'd just like to know what sort of area it's moving. Obviously, there's a little bit of a range area there, but we have sort of broken out the bottom of the range a couple of times. Each trend starts as a range, and each trend will sooner or later become a range. Yeah. I need to watch some of him, actually, just for some extra pointers, just for some extra skills, extra strings to your bow, if you like. I'm expecting it to retest. Well, you guys call them the overnight lows. I call them the middle of the afternoon lows. I'm just going to get rid of that a minute. Does look like a push down, pull back with another push down, but see, it is early. He definitely needs trending up, Brooks, doesn't he? He needs his glasses pimping up, that's for certain. He's the epitome of an old fella, isn't he? Definitely needs funking up. But I believe he's very experienced. In fact, I believe that's where Mac originally got his system from, and I think Mac maybe just readapted it or something. But I think anyone with Al Brooks' experience is worthy of a listen. Because even, just we know our strategy and our setup. But, if he mentions the markets tend to do this, that doesn't fit in our strategy, it's just an extra thing to watch for. UK time, I can't remember. I'm always flat by 8:30, but I think it's 10:15, which is 4:45 New York time. Is that right? Or is it 9:15? I can't remember. New York, I think, is about 5 hours behind us. And is it like 4:45 market closes? It used to close for an hour, didn't it? When I started trading, it used to close for an hour, but it only closes, I believe, for 15 minutes now. I'm always flat for 8:30 because sometimes it just goes stale there, and if you're in a trade, you can be stuck in it. Not that I ever trade that late now, but I think it's somewhere around about the 4:15 to 4:45 New York time. Someone else will probably help me out with that one. Thomas Wade says when a trend channel is too flat, it's not as reliable. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Obviously, that's a trend channel, isn't it? It's reliable. We've had a break in a new low. The overall one is less down, so that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect logic, doesn't it? But at the moment, what I'm seeing is I've just mentioned this and this and this, and look at that one. Look at that. It's just bounced straight off there. Whether it'll go through, I don't know. But other traders have obviously got this line drawn because they're taking their profits out there, and that's where we tend to get pushes off, pushes off, pushes off, pushes off. So the shorts are coming out there and the longs are coming in, and they seem to be doing it at that bottom line, which tells me that bottom area is where prices is reversing. So all I did then is drag the top up, and hey presto, right at the top there, right at the top there. Now, whether that's a fluke or not, maybe, but price is pushing off this, isn't it? This was where I was expecting it to come, so whether it'll bounce or whether it'll push through. We've had this strong push down. I tend to think we're likely to push through, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, that makes perfect logic, doesn't it? The steeper something is, the more chance you can say it's definitely going down. The less steep something is, you could say it seems to be coming down. Yeah, I mean, that's clearly coming down, isn't it? That's clearly coming down. This seems to be coming down, yeah. Sometimes it's about applying the common sense to it, isn't it? But so there could be a bigger trend here. I tend to like that one, actually. Let's remove this. Okay. Okay, so we've broken the overnight lows or the afternoon highs, afternoon lows if you're in the UK. Let's remove that a minute because it's confusing me. Okay, right. So we are. Let's remove that. We've pushed. See, we had this initial one, didn't we? And then we had a break and a new low. It's come back to the EMA again and gone down some more. So I've extended my trend channel. And that looks to me like it's following that. Short-term channel broke, new low, pull back EMA, and continuation of a downtrend. Should only be looked on for a possible medium-ish channel. I think the thing is I've got to trade it how I see it or how it feels to me. And sometimes, like last week, there was an issue with a bigger trend. I had my channel here and a couple mentioned, no, it's from here to here to here. And then we seemed to have a break and I went long. I looked on Marco's channel and he had the same one. He never had the wider one. And Mac didn't either. So if I wouldn't have moved my trend, I may have not got into it. So I have to just go with what I see or what looks right to me. If I start changing or adapting things, then I'm trading on behalf of someone else's advice, really. And I said we've all got to follow what we think looks right to us. Different symbols, long or short, yeah. Tied to the better, yeah. I mean, we obviously had that one down, didn't we, when we're getting something else. So it seems to me like it's fitting quite nice in that slightly wider one. I mean, if we had this down and we had a break and it played out, which it did, but then it came back to the EMA and continued on down. So that's when then I would usually extend the channel a little bit. It's what I did yesterday, and it worked. And then we ended up having a massive long channel, which fitted really nicely. See, I could put sort of one there, couldn't I? And then put another one. I think it'd be more doing the same sort of thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mac usually would do a bigger overall trend, because that just looks a bit confusing, doesn't it? Let's get rid of that. I think Mac would usually then extend it. That looks all right. Let's see what that looks like. I mean, the daily's looking very bearish at the moment, isn't it? If you look at this, since the beginning of the year, we've had a strong push down, a little bit sideways, a couple of pushes up, starting to feather out there, and then wham yesterday, big drop yesterday, and so far it didn't even retrace bar anything a little bit, and now it's strongly coming down again. So I'm still thinking bearish at the moment. There is a possible hidden second entry short there. Let's see what happens. It is looking very bearish, put it that way. Hidden second entry short. See if we can get up here somewhere. Let me get an order ready. Sell stop limit I can do, can't I? Don't know why that does that. Or usually, do you guys usually do limit orders from the other side? So you'll do a sell limit there and then drop it where it triggers. Trouble is, I stopped doing that because I see Thomas Wade doing it. A lot of times it just carries on and he doesn't get in on it. Possible hidden second entry short. I prefer that to tick higher. Starting to get a bit volatile though, isn't it? One leg up, two legs up. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I prefer to get a short in here. Let's have a look. Okay, nothing as yet. Okay, that's a hidden second entry short. I don't mind it being the same height as long as it's not lower. Okay. Let's see if this comes bearish. That to me looks like two legs up. Let's see if this comes bearish. Trouble is, that could be like that. That to me is that. Two pushes up and a break. New high. You could widen it, but to be fair, that's a hidden second entry short because of this. So let's see what's happens here. Let's look for a lower high. Okay, you fade that. That is a second entry short. It's a bit risky, isn't it? Although I do think we're likely to come back. I'd rather wait for the lower high, I think. I was tempted. Just wanted it to be a little bit more bearish. So whether you say that or that, whichever way, we've had a break and a new high, expecting a new low. See if we can get a lower high. Okay, lower high. We had a push up, we've had a break, new high, lower high. We're on a downtrend. That's okay to me. Just hope to God it fills. I'm expecting a new low. And as it's nice and strong, I am expecting it to come down quite a bit lower. So see what happens. So I'm looking for 3 in here, aren't I? Okay, so everything's working. Good. Maybe some longs in there. So I want us to pop below here. Yeah, I think it's as good as anything, isn't it? See if we can get something decent out of it. I am. As we've had this nice, it did this yesterday, it started like this, and then it broke, new low, and then it ended up wider, and it ended up tanking it. So I might just try and hold on to this and see how low it can go. We'll see. I am aware that there's the overnight lows there, but it is such a strong downtrend that we have broken that I am still expecting it to come down. I might be wrong, but this could be a failure. If this pushes down, there's going to be some longs there. So if this pushes down, okay, trapped. Take it. There was a few of us in there, was it? I thought that was all right. I knew it was. I was aware of that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I bet there was a few of us. I was aware of that, but we had pushed okay through it, and we are still in this strong downtrend. It's started going down a bit and then started steeper here. But, you as well, did it? One leg up, two legs up. See what happens now. Excuse me just for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. So it's hard to tell whether it's going up or down, isn't it? Seems to be a downward bias, but 2 legs back here. What do you go long? You do. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on. Mm. So we've had a short-term trend, and we've got to break a new high. Charlie Yellow once. Could say that's made a new extreme. You could say that's a lower high, but it's just. I prefer a failure, I think, before I went short there. It's gone slow again. It was like part of yesterday, this was. Possible failure, but I just don't like how far it is from the MA. Oh, thanks, Nicholas. Thank you. I appreciate it. Very much appreciated. Thank you. It's mounting up, actually. I think that'll pay for my graphics card, so the one I purchased to stream, that's paying for that nicely. So, yeah, anybody who uses that, it is appreciated. Tempting, isn't it? But guaranteed if you do nothing, it'll go down. God, it's so slow, isn't it? Almost put me to sleep. I'll use it next week. Thank you, Asim. Just be aware that there is an 80% off which finishes soon. Let me have a look. 4 days, 10 hours, 33 minutes. Buy to cover. Mine never says that. Only buy or sell. I wonder if that's what copy is. Say that again. Under your account data. Where's it say account data? Yeah. Apply to cover. Doesn't say that anymore. So I passed my first year. Yeah, I definitely do one at a time. I would. If you're making some money, then yeah. But if you're, I've always said this. I've only ever taken one at a time, and the reason being, while I'm in the mode of blowing them, I'd rather blow just one at a time rather than a bunch of them. Or maybe that's flattening everything button. Yeah, maybe. It is choppy, isn't it? It's not really clear. We've certainly got a downward bias, haven't we? But it's not very clear. Sort of fits. It's a weird little thing like that. One point. Excuse me, sorry. What's the discount code? Sorry, let me just switch this off a second. Sorry, I'm still suffering with this virus, the remnants of it. What the discount code does, if someone extra discount on top of it. No. That's the 80%. That gives you the 80%. But that's the offer they've got on at the moment, 80% off, which runs out in 4 days. 4 days and so many hours. So if you go on there, you've got to put a code in, otherwise it'll charge you the 50% off. But that's my code. You don't have to use mine. You can use anybody's. I won't hold it against you, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. But that's as good as anybody else's. But yeah, it closes in 4 days and 10 hours, I think it was. So if you're going to get one, if you're going to do an evaluation, I'd say get one before it ends. You'll save yourself a bit of money then. It's about $33. I think normally the 50% off is what it currently is about $78, $80, something like that. You're welcome. Very welcome. What counts as trading days? Monday to Friday. As long as there's no holidays or bank holidays. So yeah, normal Monday to Friday. So Monday to Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, you'll have completed your 7 days. And should you pass in there, you'll get an email the following morning. Yeah, just one trade. But what you can do is if you pass your evaluation earlier than 7 days, let's say you passed in 5 days and you were over your 3,000 limit, you can just trade 1 micro for the remainder, just a 1 tick or 2 tick micro just for the remainder. So just to basically make up for the days. That's if you do pass it earlier. Right, are we going to make the same mistake here, are we? We had a bounce off, but we've become quite strong, haven't we? Do you have to trade in all days? No, you don't. You could trade 3 days 1 week, 5 days the next, or 4 days the next, whatever you want, really. But beware, if you don't pass it all within a month, they will charge you another month on top of that. So certainly a month is ample to pass one. Yeah, doesn't matter. You could take 1 trade and lose. Doesn't matter. It's still classed as a trading day. If you take 1 trade, classes as a trading day. But yeah, if you take longer than a calendar month, it will charge you again. So just bear that in mind. Right. What are people's thoughts on this? Would you go short here if you got an opportunity or not? Because we already got booted out from that one. Would you more likely go short here if the opportunity arose? Or would you still be aware of this? You're welcome. You're welcome. It is choppy, but we do seem to be getting some clearer movements. But it's hard to say. See, we've bounced off this, haven't we? The overnight lows, we pushed through it and then bounced off it a couple of times, but we have come back. Support overnight lows, yeah, there is. Depends how strong the down. You took a trade there, did you? Yeah, just risky that is. It's a bit too far away from the EMA and not a real setup. If anybody else was in that short, you might get booted out like the last one. It's pushed below and rejected, although it is coming back down. Does seem to be trying to push lower, doesn't it? I think we can get through it. I think we're all right then, but it's certainly causing some resistance, isn't it? We haven't made a new low, so it has played out. But it's certainly looking bearish. I say it's a bit like watching paint dry today. Just incidentally, have we got any gamers in here, have we? And the reason I asked, I fancy having a go at that, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I haven't bought a game for years. Do you buy them now, or can you just rent them, download them and rent them? It's been that long since I've done any type of gaming. I mean, sort of back in the day, you had to go to the shop and obviously buy a game. But obviously with, streaming now and quicker internet, can you just like pay a monthly subscription and play whatever games you want? So I just fancied having a go at that Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is a bit congested, isn't it? Oh dear. Did you buy? See, I mean, I haven't had a PlayStation for years. But obviously you go and buy them then. But obviously, computer Game Pass. You play it on your at the Microsoft Store. What is it? Do you know? What do you pay? Like a monthly thing, do you? Just I was watching some of it on YouTube, and the graphics are amazing nowadays, aren't they? Microsoft Store. So what, you pay like a monthly subscription fee and you just download and play what you want? Is that how it works? What do you pay monthly for it, mate? Do you know? So tempted to go short there, but it's just prices are stumbling there. You don't know whether it's going to tank straight through it eventually or bounce off. PC. What do you pay? You pay like a monthly? What is it? Or do you just, yeah, what do you do? Is that it? Bloody hell, that's cheap. I don't know if my graphics card will do it. I got an NVIDIA 2060. Is that powerful enough? I think it may be. It was a few £100. And then you go up to the 3050 or 3060, and then 3070 and 3090. So I don't know whether mine will do it or not. That's pretty cheap. That is £7.99 a month. I mean, the last time I bought a game, it was about £50, so that's cheap. Yeah, it's just risky, isn't it? I wouldn't take a long there. It is a second entry long, but look at all that back to back. It could create a couple of double traps. There's a short trap there. See, that's triggered. If that stops, it might trigger that, push up and come back and trap that one. It's just hard to say. More than enough. Yeah, great. That's brilliant. At least then when I'm trading, I could be in the middle of a flight somewhere warm. PPL. Well, it's funny you should say that. For my 40th birthday, I had a flying lesson, and I had about a further 4 or 5 of them at a little flight school in Welshpool. But I was in between sort of work at the time, so I ended up stopping. But I think I did about 4 30-minute lessons. Back in the day when it was about £3,000 to do it, but I believe it's probably about more like the 5 or 6 now, isn't it? But yeah, something I fancy doing. I've always been to the air shows and stuff like that. I'm quite not a fanatic, but I've got, you could say I'm a fan of the fan of aircraft. But see what I mean about the double trap? That's triggered, stopped out. Second entry long's triggered. Could stop you out. Just thinking, are there going to be a lot of longs in there if that comes down and stop them out? I wouldn't be surprised if the longs are it's broken out and had a new low. I bet there's going to be some longs trapped there. Is that worth a short, or is it a bit late? I'll have a big bar on it. I think the best thing to do is to stay out. If you guys on YouTube, check out The Flying Reporter. All right, I'll tell you why I watch. The gingerhead guy's a pilot who goes through all the accidents. What's his name? He's a foreign guy. He's from, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, I think. Is he German or something like that? He's got sort of reddish hair. He goes over all the accidents and talks you through them. He's really good, actually. I watch him quite a lot. private pilot here. There's no feeling like flying an aircraft. So you guys are in America, aren't you? It's a lot cheaper over there. You get about a 1970s battered shed here over here. A lot of your aircraft are quite new, and you got a lot more space, a lot more, just a lot. Everything's bigger in the States. In fact, I looked into it a few years ago, and it was cheaper to fly to the States, stop for a fortnight, or however long it took, do your private pilot's license, and then come back to the UK. It was cheaper to do that than just your pilot's license over here. But yeah, I had a bunch. I had about 4 lessons in a Piper Warrior, I think it was about 10 years ago. And around the Welsh mountains, it's quite bouncy. So yeah, there's quite a lot of, you tend to bounce all over the place. Oh, do you really? Let me take a photograph and I will have a look. I do watch a guy who's the guy, the dark black haired thick guy who flies the jet, the Cessna. What's his name? I watch him quite a bit. Let me have a look. What do you think I'm learning to trade? I want to buy my own jet. I kind of like, is it the Cirrus 2? The Cirrus? Let me just take, okay, I've just took a picture of the chat. Yeah, is it the Cirrus? The little Cirrus, the small little single engine jet, which is about just below the tail. Oh, I'm a big dreamer, I am. Okay, that has pushed down. I thought it may do. But it was a double trap like I thought it was. There's a short there which triggered and got stopped out. There was a second entry long there which triggered and got stopped out. And I thought that's the thing. I was tempted to put a short there and ride it down, but just the way it is at the moment and me down a couple of $100, I just thought I'd just stay out of it. Flying is a serious business. Yeah, the Cirrus is nice, yeah. I've always enjoyed aircraft. I go to a lot of the air shows over in the UK at Biggin Hill and Duxford, where you've got all the old warbirds. There's nothing like camping in the morning and having a little fire going and cooking a nice fried breakfast, and you've got the Lancaster and a Spitfire and Hurricane and that coming over. And obviously there's a lot of history around Biggin Hill, which is South London. Biggin Hill's great. Still got the old grass runway there. Yeah, it's fantastic. I go to a lot of the air shows, not as much as I used to, but I still usually go to Cosford. But yeah, something about being up there. I've had a couple of drones over the years as well. It's just nice to get a separate perspective, isn't it, from the air? You see something a little bit more 3D. It's definitely put a downward bias, that's for certain. Flying Ducks from Biggin Hill, yeah. In fact, I went to Biggin Hill about 10, 12 years ago, and there's a little village called Brasted, which is about 2 miles from Biggin Hill, and there's an old black and white pub there. Beautiful black and white pub with an old red phone box out of it and red post box outside. And you go in there and it's got all the old beams. The old sort of black and white. Excuse me. And there's a big chalkboard behind the bar, which is actually built into a frame and got glass over it. There's all signatures in chalk from a lot of the pilots that flew Biggin Hill during the Second World War. And the old big oak beams, there's the old 1 pennies and that hammered into the cracks that you can sort of still feel. And you get a lot of the enthusiasts turning up in all the, the war memorabilia and the old trucks and tanks that park outside the pub, and you go there and have a lovely meal. And once you've had a couple of beers, it's as if, you were back sort of 60, 70 years. Yes. It's an amazing place, I got to say. Gamston, what's that? Gamston, what's that? Not sure what that is. Similar to trade and expect you literally die. I don't know if my wife knew how much I'd spent on trading. I think my life would be certainly in risk. Yeah, it's definitely working its way down. There's no two ways about that, is there? In fact, that is probably more, I would say, there. possibly. Maybe. It's just such an outdated trade at the moment. It sort of looks like it's going to be clear, but oh, shot that one went. I thought that was I know we had the overnight lows, but yeah, gee, money. I'll have a look after. I will certainly have a look. God, I've got to say, when it's slow, isn't it? In fact, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to make a quick cup of tea. Be back with you in a minute. Okay, back. Right. Too many people die. Motorbike. You had a GSXR. I had a GSX 750. The muscle bike, they call it, without the fairing. I had a bike that's worth a few quid now when I was younger, a Yamaha RD 250 LC. Worth quite a few grand now, they are. First bike I had, Honda CB125 Super Dream. Back in about 1990, something like that. I'd love another one, but my wife won't let me. Or wouldn't let me. I've got a friend whose wife's a nurse. They call them donors. God, it's going so slow, isn't it? Banshee. I recognise that. It's sort of working in the top section of there, isn't it? Scotland be stunning for riding a bike. I have a mate who goes up to Scotland on his bike, usually once a year with a couple of other guys. It's them nutcases at over in the Isle of Wight. Not the Isle of Man, the Isle of Man TT. Flipping mental they are. I think every year someone dies. Two legs up. Let's see if we get a second entry here. Would you go short here? I'm tempted. US lunchtime, yeah. It's just retesting this overnight lows, isn't it? One leg up, two legs up. Harley Rogue. Dream of riding it through England. So you've got a lot of options over, and you got Route 66. I had a friend of mine's dad went over a few years ago to the US, hired a Harley, and did Route 66. One leg up, two legs up. We seem to be downtrending. I'm just wondering whether they go short, because we seem to be pushed through, retested it once, retested it twice. See if this ends up really bearish. That's a no. Yeah, it's quite hard to read, isn't it? Okay, that's played out, isn't it? Push up, two pushes up. See what happens. Okay, two pushes up. Yeah, leading loser, it certainly could. I mean, we've certainly got a downward bias. I think that's pretty. I mean, we had this initial big push down, and then we sort of had another pullback. And from here, we've sort of slowly down, a little bit of sideways, down again, a couple of pushes up, down again. It's certainly got a downward bias. But the trouble is, it's not a clear one, is it? Clear enough to easily take trades. That's more or less worked up to there. Yeah, I know. Jim, have you seen some of the accidents, Jim? Flipping hell. I'll tell you what, it's all right coming off and sliding along the ground. It's when you start connecting things like walls that there's a real issue. Yeah, I've seen some of the accidents on YouTube. I think every year they do it, there's at least one fatality. I mean, you've got to have balls of steel to do that, haven't you, with all them walls and houses and stuff. I mean, I've come off a couple of bikes in my time, and you're all right if you come off the ground. Usually, you might end up at worst breaking a few bones, or it's getting a bit of gravel rash or something or whatever. But and a bit shaken up. It's when you start coming into contact with things like vehicles and walls that there's a problem. Yeah, it's quite choppy, isn't it? So it's a shame about that. I mean, what I could have done if I'd have left that there. And we have already a break and a couple of legs down. The trouble is, it's just the way it pushed up and made a break and made a new high. Then we pushed strongly below the EMA and then had a bearish bar. I suppose the only other issue is the fact that there's probably going to be some traders looking to buy there. Or certainly there. So that's something to be aware of for next time. I just thought it was going to be that bearish. It was just going to plunge because it initially went straight through it, didn't it? Without a great problem, but then bounced up. But the trouble is, we had a break from here, and then we pushed down again. We came back to the ME, pushed down again. So, as far as I was aware, then you readjust your trend line, and that it's sort of two pushes down within a bigger trend. That sort of works fine, but I don't know whether the fact that that trend was wrong, which caused that, or the fact that it was more likely. It was probably more likely if we hadn't hit the lows, then that may have worked. But it's hard to say, isn't it? But there's definitely some shorts trapped there, that's for certain. Hence that sort of big 10-point move or whatever it was, 10, 12-point move. I'd say probably the same as well. There's probably maybe some shorts trapped there, thinking, back to the MA down, back to the MA down. It is looking bearish. There's probably some more shorts in there that got in there and it took off again. Every time I've seen it, yeah. Got to say, you never stop learning in this business, do you? There's more and more to trade in. It seems like the more you trade, the more complicated it gets. I mean, when I first started, it seemed a lot easier, I got to say. Things seemed a lot easier. when I started. I don't remember really choppy days like this so much. Maybe we did have it, I just can't remember. But, you know, it's hard, but it's definitely seemed easy when I started. The sort of, you tend to think the longer you've been doing it, the easier it gets. But it's not always the case, is it? Apart from a little breakout there, that actually finishes. In fact, let's put that there. A little breakout overshoot here, maybe a little overshoot here. That doesn't look that bad, actually. Fits here quite nice, fits here nice, fits there nice. Touch, touch. Maybe not, maybe a little overshoot. So I'd say it fits quite nice, that, doesn't it? But like you say, Thomas Wade says the less steep angle it is, the less reliable it comes. But we have clearly did a downtrend there, a couple of pulls back, downtrend again. Just wondering if I'm going to be thinking about going short here, especially after we've had that good strong push up. And if you look, every time it gets back up here, it drops again. So I'm thinking about finding, it does, I mean, the pattern is, starts here, got to the top, came back down, a little bit of an overshoot there, possibly the same here, back to the top, straight back down again, back to the top. I am thinking down again. It's certainly looking bearish. So from what I'm seeing bearish, and when it comes to the top of here, it's coming back down, and we're at the top now. So it's, especially after this strong push up, I'm expecting, if I can get a setup and something looks good, then I'll be thinking about going short. So if I draw this short-term trend channel, we've had a break and a new high. Trying to go higher once, see if it can push down for a failure. It's had the same high. See if it stalls again on here or whether it just continues up. Okay, let's see what's happened. Every time it has come up here, it's come back down. I think it's more likely there's a bit of an overshoot there. I'll wait for a lower high though. Does seem like it's working its way down. Short-term trend, we've had a break. 1, 2 pushes up to a new high. See if we can get something coming down. Same sort of picture here, didn't we? We had a push up, break, strong push up, break, strong push up. Turned at this, came straight back down. Same sort of pattern to me, but I need a lower high really. There was a lower high there, continue straight down. So the pattern is looking very similar. Yeah, short-term trend up, break, right up to the top, short-term trend up, break, right up to the top, sharply. Excuse me. The trouble is I want a lower high, really. It's tempting it is to jump in that. So that has played out. 1, 2 pushes up. I do like 2 pushes up. This can stall here and pull back here. Give us a lower high, then we may be able to get something out of it. Just cross the fit. Oh, well done, mate. Well done, bud. First 2 apex eval accounts, slow and steady. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're a third of the way there. Another $500, you're half the way there. Okay, let's get an order ready. Should something materialize. Break. Okay, that's broken there. See what happens. You've entered at 39.12. Here. You've gone long, have you? You're pushing up to here. 39. Targeting 3909. Have you gone short, have you? You gone short. It is looking. Trouble is, it hasn't triggered above there, really, is it? And if it comes down and sits here, it's a bit congested. As much as it's looking like it's done the same there. We had a push up, pull back, push up, push up, pull back, push up. Same sort of pattern. And that sort of staggered a bit, came down, didn't it? Which is sort of what this seems to be doing. It's short. Tempting it is just to drop a trade in here and thinking we're going to run it down. It's just, I've learned not to do that. I'm not saying I don't make bad decisions, but randomly drop in and I've got to sort of wait for a setter if I can. Yeah, there's risk. I mean, if it works, I mean, you would say just by seeing this previous pattern and what's happened, whenever it comes up to the top, the pattern is showing. Started here, came back up there, dropped, came back up there, dropped, came back up there, dropped, came back up there. You'd expect it to drop. It's done the same, and obviously that's what's created that form of a downtrend. So you've just got to notice patterns for what they are. I'm just thinking if this triggers, there may be some longs in there. Thinking we've broken below this daily and pushed strongly above it. But obviously, you know, if we're looking on previous patterns over the last couple of hours, it's every time it gets up here, it's pushing down again. And that short-term trend channel has played out because it's had a break and it's had 2 push up to a new high, come down strongly. Now, obviously, we've bounced off the EMA and the EMA is pointing upwards because we've had this nice big bullish bar, but it doesn't mean to say it's going to go higher. It might come up and retest, or this might be a lower high. Trouble is, to take that, I'd want it to come below here, and that's going to be one hell of a size bar, so it's just hard to say. Dropped back very quick earlier 3 times. 9:15 retest. See, it's gone slow because it's at that area where it could go up or down. So we come back to the EMA, 1 push up, 2 pushes up, see what happens here. I mean, over the last times it's pushed up there, it hasn't come back and retested it. It's just dropped. A little bit of an overshoot and dropped. There and dropped. Here, dropped. Up here where it started, dropped. So every time it's come up, it's dropped. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to continue to do that, I suppose, does it? But I suppose it's more likely 1 push up, potential fail second entry short, but market might have other ideas. That's the thing. Sometimes on choppy days, it just doesn't always play by the rules, does it? It's not always that clear. Stopped out. It may have another leg up. Yeah, that's the trouble. Is there's no real setup, is there? And sometimes when there's no setup, it doesn't work. Guaranteed, though, if you did nothing there, market dropped like a stone. It's always when you tend to get into it. Let's get rid of that. It's always when you tend to get into it. So this could be a failed breakout, couldn't it? It's hard to say. Not been a huge amount of setups, really, has there? A lot of this is chop. At least this had a couple of legs down. And same here. This bit was hard to trade. That was a complete mess. No real setup. Obviously, there was a setup there. Is that where I went? Is that where I know? I thought I'd trade there now. Yeah, there was a break there, second entry long there, and then a higher low there. That was quite a good trade. I suppose that was the trade of the day, I suppose, wasn't it? There is some support and some resistance there. It's not the most exciting trading day, is it? You re-enter the short. Trouble is, there's no setup at the moment, is there? As you know, good as it's looking coming down. Oh, something. Do something. Okay, so if you call that a range, a channel, it seems to be a channel. and it's broke out of it and pulled back. See what happens. See if it does come back down into it. It's hard to say. Trouble is, it's still choppy, so it's not necessarily playing kindly, is it? See if we can push through this and give us a lower high. Trouble is, just with that little bit there, that could be 2 legs, really, couldn't it? That's the thing. Okay, I know it's broken. Made a new low. Let's remove it. It's just getting away. I'd like to think it was coming back down, but it's just so hard to say. You got 4 points, did you? Yeah, it's just... I just couldn't randomly go in there, really. You just... Excuse me, you just never know. I'm just thinking there's a possible... you could call that 2 legs down bullish bar. So you could say that's like a hidden second entry long. Excuse me. If it comes down below there, there may be some longs trapped there. Let me just get an order ready. Because if it does come bearish, that's a lower high. And it's taking out the stops of potential longs. Let's just put that order there, see what happens. 1 leg down, 2 legs down, could come down to here. If it does trigger below there, it's certainly a lower high. If it does trigger, okay, I'd say I'm all right with that. Let's see what happens. See if it does come down. See if we've read it right. Okay, everything's working fine, so that's one saving grace, isn't it? We seem to have this channel down. It's broken out of it. It's sort of hit whatever that line is. I can't remember. Well, just a little bit of resistance, I think. So see what happens. This is the best we can do at the moment. There's not a fantastic amount around, is there? So let's see if we can't get down here somewhere. We've pushed back through the EMA. We've come up, pushed above it, broke down, ended on its lows, bearish bar, lower high. See what happens. Excuse me. I'd say there's probably going to be some longs there, maybe. If we can get below there, then we may get something. We'll see. See what happens. It does come down below here. I'd say there's probably going to be some longs in there, pushing it off from the overnight. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see. It's definitely choppy anyway, so nothing's working smoothly so we'll see. This fails here, I think that's me done for today, I think. It's not massive risks, and that's the one thing. Or it could be a second entry long, trap the short. It's hard to say at the moment. I'd certainly think the way it's looking, I'm sort of thinking bearish at the moment, just by what's happening. We've definitely got a bearish. We've had a push out there, come back into the channel. It's hard to say. Okay, so everything's working as it should. Let's just have a look at the account. What was I? 228 down. So if we can get something like a little bit back, little bit of green back. I had one leg down anyway. Perhaps we'll get another leg down. We'll see. I think it's going to need to get down below here, I think. If it does get down below here, I'd say there's probably going to be some longs in there. We have had two legs up. Break out this channel. So I'd expect 2 legs down. See what happens. It's definitely choppy turn. It's definitely hard day. It's not playing usual. It's not playing the game. But if this can stay bearish, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to get down a bit. That's not too bad, actually. If we can get below here, I think then we'll get maybe a little bit more move down and another leg. Well, that's the beauty about trading your own chart. You get to decide, don't you? So maybe it is risky, but we've had sort of 2 pushes up. We've had a breakout this. It's definitely moving down. In my eyes anyway, it's definitely moving down. Every time it comes up here, it's coming down. Now, we've had a break out of it, and it's come strongly down, pushed below the EMA and given us a lower higher. So I am thinking down. So it is what it is. I've taken it. We'll just have to see what happens. But I'd say if we can get down here, I'd say there's probably going to be some longs in there. But it might go up and stop me out. It's hard to say at the moment, but we had a strong push down below the EMA and a pullback and a bearish bar ending on it. So we've had 1 push up, pull back, 1 push up, 1 push down, pull back. I expect sort of the same, but we'll see. It is getting a bit congested. Scalping 1 point, I'd say no, not nowadays. I just think you've got to be right sort of 90% of the time, really. I went to 2 points. I'd say start with 2 points and maybe work up, but I would certainly say 2 points, not 1 point. It has pushed through what I would say this is a channel, and it has kept under the channel and the EMA, so I don't know. It is getting congested. I like to think we're going to have another leg down, but we'll see. Pass your first ER. Congratulations, Stan. Good on you, mate. It's a nice feeling when you first do it. I've still got my certificate somewhere, amongst many others. Where are you from, Stan? Are you UK, Stan, are you? Where are you from? USA. I got you. God, it's so slow, I've got to say. It's definitely sideways. I'm tempted to get out of this in a minute, I think. It doesn't get any better. That's it, I think. That's us out. Right. Okay, with a $75 loss, I can deal with that. It's just looking a bit precarious, isn't it? Okay, what are we down there? What was I down? It's a $100 loss, something like that. Okay, I don't like what it's doing. Not my luck, it'll tank, but done this before, got out of trades and it carries on down, but I kind of hope it breaks above there now. I know what you're saying, mate. I know what you're saying. I don't think it's so much rain days. I think it's more patience, to be honest with you. See, I see what you're saying about a range, but we've had this push down, pushed up, and it's continued to work down, hasn't it? So I'd possibly maybe argue with less of a range day and more just chop. But to me, every time it comes up here, it's pushing down. So it is. There's definitely a downward bias there, isn't there? Well, you say. You mean this? If you say there's a valid uptrend from the low there, we've had a break out of it, and we've struggled to make a new high, haven't we? We've tried once, tried twice, and we haven't made a new high. All I'm going with is just what I can see at the moment, and it's coming down, it's working down. Yeah, we are having some sideways chop. We had a bit of sideways, then we had a bit of push down, a little bit of chop down, a little bit of sideways down, up, break, down, a little bit of sideways. For me, at the moment, ever since here, every time it's come back up, it's getting lower and lower, which obviously indicates downwards movement, doesn't it? And same with the bottom, it's touching the same point. So there's definitely a range there of sorts, isn't there? So I would argue about definitely a trend. I would argue about a range day, and more. I see it's coming down there, bloody typical. I would argue about a range day and more just chop. We've pulled down, had a break, little bit of chop, pushed up, pulled down, little bit of chop, pulled down, pushed up, little bit of chop. We've had a break. If you say this is a range, we've had a break, a little bit of chop. It's just hard to read at the moment, really. But it's certainly working its way down. But it is choppy. But I am looking at the smaller channels as well. You know, this break, push up, break. Oh, 2 legs up to me, that looks like, and I'm expecting sort of the same down. And we may do, depending on how this falls. I just have to trade it how I know and how I see it. Otherwise, I'm trading what other people think, and it just doesn't work. Okay, so that would have hit my stop, so I'm glad I came out when I did. Yeah, and I don't mean that in an ignorant way. You just have to trade it how you see it, because otherwise I'm sort of not in the, do you know what I mean? I'm not in the decision. I know it's hard to say, and I think that's what a lot of people say. They find it hard to stream because there's so many different opinions and it affects your bias. I mean, a lot of us have got sort of different opinions, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you get a mixture of opinions, you know what they say, too many cooks spoil the broth, that type of thing. So I just have to trade it how I see it, otherwise it doesn't work. And if I lose, it's, you know, it is what it is. I just have to sort of, you know. If I trade my way, I'll always be losing. It's a hard thing to do, really, isn't it? It's, I think, streaming. It does. I mean, it's helped me because I obviously managed to build up an account and earn some money from it finally. But it is. I mean, I know what you're saying about a range day. We're definitely doing a lot of sideways, but it's got a downward bias to it. We had a push down here, a little bit of sideways, another push down, a couple of legs up, another push down. So to me, Excuse me. I mean, you could say it's a range with a downward bias from the market. The market opened about 230, wasn't it? So it was around about here somewhere, yeah. So we had that strong push down, then we recovered, and then we've sort of continued. Every time we've come up, we've come sort of lower and lower, you know what I mean? So, which is telling me if we're making lower lows and lower highs, we're in a downtrend. But it is a messy, sideways, choppy downtrend. And yeah, I agree with you. I think my patients are getting to me, and I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, on a nice trending day, that will be a good trade to take. But obviously, see, I never had this chop. It was straight push down. I didn't have this drawn. See, normally, if you could say that was a channel, you'd have a break and make a new high, but it doesn't look like we're going to do it. But taking all this lot away, it's a push down below the EMA, push up above the EMA, close on its low. I thought that's a hidden second entry long. There may be some people trapped there. Obviously wasn't the case. But yeah, it's another one of those things that, you know, on days like this that do seem a bit choppy, I've got to, you know, maybe sit and just do nothing. You know what I mean? Same way as Vlad, profitable trades. Yeah, I don't know, Vlad. Does he stream, does he? I trade the same as Vlad. A profitable trader trades. He's been doing it for 2.5 years. 90%. Why would you trade my way? So, where does he trade? Is he on YouTube or something? Is he? I have heard of him because somebody mentioned him the other day. Let me know where he trades, or has he got a website? If anything. But yeah, it's definitely sort of, you could say range. Vlad is at Pat's Forum. Yeah, I've seen him there, but is he on YouTube, or does he? How did you hear about him? How did you find out about him? All he takes is second entry longs, second entry short, nothing else. No lower highs. Failures? Does he do failures? Oh, he's one of the moderators on. Oh, I see. I'll have to go on there a bit more. So he only takes second entry longs. He doesn't take failures, no? What goes on the forum so much? I've not been on there for like 7 months. I think my year was up in 7 months, but I did join again about a week and a half ago. So he doesn't take any failures either. There's a few failures after the break. Yeah, okay. Yeah. If he has a 98% win rate, it's obviously working for him. But yeah, it's certainly a choppy day, isn't it? It's just bouncing around a bit. And the trouble is, on days like this is where you need to be at your best with patience. And I'm still learning with patience. Must be above or below the EMA. Okay, so you're taking a short failure. It's got to be above the EMA, yeah? Yeah. So, for instance, that you take that second entry long, you wouldn't take the lower high, no? Mind you wouldn't need to take the lower high if you had that second entry long because it's such a nice bar, isn't it? But, okay, another tick higher or so, that would have been better. But only goes for 2 points, yeah. See, I kind of like the way What's It does it. He goes for 4, fixed 4 points. Taylor from Top Pick Trader. He does it with Marco. And he goes for 4. Oh, but large contract, yeah. to be honest with you, the good trades, I don't see many trades that don't make at least 4 points. If I go back over some of the charts where, some of the charts that Marco or whatever puts in, most will go for at least 4 or 5 points. In some cases, a lot more. The good trades, I mean, trade of the day, I'd say probably you could argue that one. Second entry long, we had a break. I mean, it seemed to be fitting there nice. We had a break. And obviously that would have went for, well, you'd have got 7 points comfortably out of that. And if I'm taking sort of 4 sorry. If I'm taking 4 minimum and he's taking 2, obviously my percentage can be dramatically lower. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I kind of see Taylor seems to do well. He loses some trades, but he has a fixed 4 points. Trade your chart, something like that. Yeah, that's all you can do. You just got to do it how you see it. Taylor didn't go for 2 until he was trading profitably for a while. Yeah, he does now though, doesn't he? And he seems to do well at it. I think the thing is, if you're trading for 2 points, you're trading for 4 points. Obviously, you're making twice as much profit, aren't you? So obviously, your win rate can afford to be quite a bit lower. But good trades will go well. I mean, if you look at, someone like Marco's or Daniel's trade, that's how I decided to go for 2 points. I looked at Daniel's trading charts going back about 2 weeks, sorry. And I saw 35 trades, and every single trade would have made at least 2 points. And that's where I went from 1 point to 2 points. And that made a world of difference. But I'd say I'll be surprised if it's any more than 1 in 10 that only hits 2 points and not 4 on the good trades. So obviously making double your profit, it's a no-brainer for me. So there's our first leg down, a little bit of sideways. This is what I was expecting. Whether it'll come down or not, I don't know. Having said that, my trade was here and my stop was here, so it did trigger anyway. I usually give it an extra tick, which is probably there, so it probably would have triggered anyway, but yeah, trouble is you're doubling your size, you're doubling your risk then. I mean, it's better to keep the risk the same and double your profit. If you're risking 3, let's say an average bar, I don't know, what is it at the moment, 2.5. So your average bar, stop above it, stop is 3 points. So if I'm taking 4 points from a trade, I'm doing at least 1-to-1. So if you're trading 2 points, I've still got the same risk. You're done for the day. Busy next few days, so we'll catch up. But yeah, take it easy, Keith. Have a good one, mate. Have a good one. So would you fade that? It's hard to say. See, for me, it's got a bearish feel to it. So if it didn't have a bearish feel, would anybody trade that because you're in it? If you did, in fact, has it broken? It probably hasn't actually now. There's more touches there, so no, it's just the bottom of the chart. So yeah, you couldn't talk about fading that really, could you? Yeah, he's part of the reason I started watching Thomas, and he does 2. What does he do? 8 to 10 ticks, so 2 to 2.5 points. And then when I watched him do it, I thought I'd do some research myself. And back when Daniel was posting his chart daily, I looked back over the last 2 weeks, the last 10 trading days, and I went through every single trade he marked. And every single trade made at least 2 points. And I think there was 34 trades. So it was a no-brainer for me. It was right 34 out of 34 times, which is why I gave up scalping for a point. The trouble is, I mean, if that ATR is, say, 3.5, which it can be sometimes, you've got to tick above, tick below, that's a 4-point risk. if you win 5 trades and take 1 point of each, and you lose 4 points with all your commissions, you're barely in the green. So, one bad trade can wipe out, 5 winners, and it's just heartbreaking, I've got to say. So that's why I disagree with scalping just 1 point. I think the markets, there's a lot more movement, enough for it now. I'd say go for 2 minimum. Start with 2, but I wouldn't do 1 anymore. I really wouldn't. With your trading, you're talking about me there, buddy. Oh, or Jacko. See, I'm thinking bearish, and if anybody's not thinking bearish, then they would take that fade back in there. But it's just looking like another leg, one leg, a little bit of congestion, and followed by another leg. I think 1 point was set up 10 years ago. Yeah, I agree. Things were obviously different then. But obviously, there's a lot more. There's a lot more movement in the chart. There's a lot more guys like us, trading from their computers. So would you take that then as a second entry long back into the range? I mean, it doesn't look any more bullish than that. I don't know whether I would. But if you're fading the breakout, would you take that? I don't like the way the EMA is starting to point down, and we've had this first leg followed by some sideways. I don't think I could bring myself to take that long for a point. Yeah, I don't know why he does that. He could double his profit. But what I know Mac does is he swing trades some of his, and he takes quite long swings, so that's where he makes most of his money. Would you fade that? Anybody going to fade that? Five of them runners, but we'll try 2 points now. Stop are often larger than... Oh, stops are always larger than 8 ticks. The ATR is quite low at the moment, and look at that. It's just under 2.5 points. When you add your tick above, tick below, that's just under 3 points, and that's relatively low. I think you rarely see that. I mean, realistically, to risk no more than 2 points, that would have to be 1.5 point runner. Well, it's working, isn't it? It'd have to be a 1.5 point run. A 1.5 point ATR. The tick above, tick below, that's 2 points. You just don't see that anymore. So that's a second entry long. See, I'm thinking bearish. How far has that gone up? You'd have got a point out of it. See what happens. It ain't over yet. It's just looking bearish to me. EMA's pointing down. We've had this one push down, a little bit of sideways. I'm expecting another push down. You're going to fade it. You might be right, actually. If you'd have got a point, you'd have got a point. Possibly a 1.25. You're out, are you? Good on you, mate. You're a braver man than I am, so what had you got there? You'd have got 2 points out of that. Maybe more. Your window is stuck at positions instead of accounts. Yeah, no, I've stuck it on positions purposely. I put it on positions so that when my trades trigger, I can see what positions. Yeah, that's where it was. Well, that went really nice, didn't it? So I'd say there was definitely some shorts trapped there, that's for certain. I bet you wish you'd held on a bit there, Jacko, now, aren't you? You'd have got a fair few points out of that one, buddy. Yeah, you'd have got 5 points, 5, possibly 6 points out of that if you'd have dropped, even if you'd have dropped it in here. Yeah, I usually have it on accounts, but I leave it on position so that when these trade copiers trigger, I can see what's trading. No, you and me both, mate. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, innit? Let's see if we can get up here. And then you could call that. There's your triple test there, bud. Once, twice. Let's bring that down a bit. You mentioning triple test? Wow, look at that, straight through it. Ooh, lovely. Look at that. Take it. Someone's come home from lunch, if they. Could you switch your Ninja to account? Otherwise, we can't see how your day has been so far at a glance. The trouble is, you can have a quick look now, but I keep it on there because if I take a trade, I've got these. I want to see what positions I've got, whether they all trigger. Otherwise, I won't be able to tell, so I tend to keep it on that. But if you want to see how bad I've done today, there you go. You know, have a quick glance at that. But this is. Oh, yeah, there's some news, isn't there? Where are we? What time is it? Medium impact news. Let's have a look. 6 o'clock. Oh, it's 6:15, isn't it? Not yet. So you could call that a breakout, couldn't you? If that bit's a range down the bottom, I don't know, it's hard to say, isn't it? Right, I think that's going to be it, guys. I think for me, it's been a funny old day today. Choppy old, messy old day. So hopefully we might get a better day tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll be trading here again tomorrow from about 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I do put up a video, a schedule video. So if you subscribe, you'll get that notification, I believe, just to say that I'll be streaming again tomorrow. If you're taking any evaluations, I got a code up here for 80% off. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but I get a small kickback from that. So that's there if you choose to use it. But I don't, if you want to use someone else's, that's fine. But that runs out in about 4 days anyway. So anybody who has used that previously today, in the last couple of days, it's much appreciated. So have a great day. If you're continuing trading, best of luck, and I will catch you all tomorrow morning for most of you, afternoon for me.